It is 3:14 in the morning. You know it is 3:14 because you already checked. Search for why this happens, and you will land on the same answer almost everywhere. Cortisol. Your stress hormone spikes in the middle of the night. It pulls you out of sleep, and the fix is to repair your exhausted adrenal glands. I went through the research on this, and that explanation has the arrow pointing the wrong way. Cortisol does climb in the second half of the night. That part is true. But when researchers measure what actually happens around a night waking, the cortisol pulse arrives after the waking, not before it. Waking up triggers the hormone. The hormone did not wake you, which leaves a different question than the one you have been asking. And the answer starts somewhere that surprised me. You did not wake up once last night. In a sleep lab, a healthy adult in their 20s comes apart from sleep about 10 times an hour. Not dramatic wakings, brief ones, a few seconds, enough to show up on the electrodes. Across a night that is roughly 80 of them, about 20 last long enough to be scored as a proper awakening. By your 60s, that 10 an hour has become closer to 22. The awakenings roughly double to about 40 a night. The measured drift is a little over 2 extra arousals per hour for every decade you age. That number comes from a review of 169 studies covering more than 5,000 people. So it is about as solid as sleep numbers get. 20 to 40 times a night. And you remember one of them. There is a study I keep thinking about where researchers woke people up on purpose and varied how long they held them awake before letting them drift back. Then they asked in the morning what they remembered. The average person needed about 4.5 minutes of wakefulness before the waking made it into memory at all. Under that, it is simply gone. Some people needed only 30 seconds. Some needed 10 minutes. So you did not wake up at 3. You woke at 11:40, and again around 1, and again at 2:20, and again at 3. The first 3 did not last long enough to leave a trace. The 3 in the morning waking is not the one where you woke up. It is the one where you stayed awake. That changes what we are actually trying to fix. Now, why does the long one tend to land in the back half of the night? Sleep is not one substance. Deep, slow wave sleep, the heavy kind that is hardest to be pulled out of, is front-loaded. It is concentrated in the first third of the night, and by the third or fourth cycle, there is barely any left. What fills the later cycles instead is REM and lighter stages. So by 3 in the morning, you are running on the thin stuff. The same small disturbance that would not have touched you at 11:30, a car door, a full bladder, your partner turning over, now has a much better chance of pushing you all the way up. Not because something went wrong, because that is the shape of a normal night. I want to be careful here, because this is where the internet oversells it. You will hear that sleep pressure is spent by 3, so of course you wake. That is only half of it. Your body clock is pushing hardest for sleep at roughly that same hour, which works against the waking. The two forces partly cancel. What is genuinely true is the simpler thing. The deep sleep is used up. The night has gone light, and a light night is easier to interrupt. Back to cortisol for a second, because I want to be fair to it. There is no 3 a.m. cortisol spike. The nocturnal rise is gradual and comes in pulses, and it is tied to your body clock, not to the clock on your wall. When researchers look at what happens around a middle-of-the-night awakening, they see a brief cortisol elevation right after it, followed by a dip. And the big cortisol surge people talk about, the one in the morning, requires you to have woken up first. It follows waking. It does not produce it. As for adrenal fatigue, the thing you are supposed to be repairing, a review went through 58 studies looking for it and concluded it is not a medical condition. It is not in any diagnostic manual. I am not saying your tiredness is imaginary. I am saying the label being sold to you does not describe anything real, and neither do the supplements attached to it. So, you wake, briefly, many times a night, and that is normal. One of those wakings ran long. Why? usually because of what happened in the 20 minutes after your eyes opened. The moment you register that you are awake at 3, a few things start. You work out how much sleep is left. You calculate how bad tomorrow will be. Your heart rate comes up a little. And now you are not a person who woke up. You are a person who is trying to fall asleep, which is a much harder job. The oldest fix for this is also the best supported one, and it is almost embarrassingly simple. If you are awake and it is not working, get out of bed. Go somewhere else. Keep the lights low. Do something undemanding and go back when you feel sleepy rather than when you feel you ought to. The point is not the walking around. The point is that your bed stops being the place where you lie awake doing arithmetic about tomorrow. You have probably heard a number attached to this: 15 minutes or 20. Here is a detail I loved finding. The psychologist who wrote these instructions in 1972 deliberately gave no number. He wrote in a footnote that being more specific would just make people watch the clock, which would make the problem worse. The 15 or 20 minutes came later, from clinicians who wanted something concrete to tell patients. It was never the tested part. And he was right to worry. In one experiment, people who monitored a clock while trying to sleep reported worrying more and reported taking far longer to fall asleep. When researchers ran it properly, with a real clock against a dummy display, the measured sleep time barely moved. What moved was how badly they thought they had slept. Read that again, because it is the whole thing. The clock did not cost them sleep. It cost them the belief that they had slept. So the first move is the least satisfying one. Turn the clock away. If your phone is your alarm, put it face down and out of reach. You cannot calculate how much sleep is left if you do not know what time it is, and that calculation was never helping you. If this is happening most nights and has been for months, the treatment with the best evidence behind it is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. Across 87 trials, it produces a solid, lasting reduction in time spent awake during the night, and the American Sleep Medicine Guidelines rate it as a strong recommendation. Sleeping pills rate as weak recommendations, all of them, which does not mean the pills do nothing. In a head-to-head trial, temazepam actually beat the therapy at 8 weeks, cutting time awake by about an hour against half an hour. But follow the same people out to 6 months and a year, and the therapy gains hold while the drug gains fade. You are choosing between faster and lasting. One thing to take off your list: melatonin. It has a small, real effect on falling asleep and on shifting your clock across time zones. For staying asleep, the evidence is not weak, it is mostly absent. The main pooled analysis could not even assess night waking as an outcome, and the American guidelines explicitly recommend against using it for this. If you are taking melatonin at 3 in the morning, you are taking it for a problem it was never shown to solve. And then there is the part I would rather oversay than undersay. Sometimes the 3 a.m. waking is a symptom, and the honest answer is not a technique. If you are getting up to use the bathroom twice or more every night, that is worth investigating rather than accepting. If you snore or wake gasping, or someone has told you that you stop breathing, get a sleep study. Sleep apnea is not rare and not a fringe concern. In a large population study of adults over 40, moderate to severe apnoea showed up in about half of the men and around a quarter of the women. Half. Most of them did not know. And if you are a woman somewhere in your 40s or 50s and this started along with cycle changes or waking up hot, that is not a coincidence. Trouble staying asleep runs at about 24% before the menopause transition and about 36% after it. None of those are fixed by turning your clock around. So, if this is you, turn the clock away tonight. That one costs nothing. If you are still awake and it has clearly stopped working, get up, sit somewhere dim, and go back when you are sleepy. Do not time it. Timing it was never the part that worked. And give it more than a night. What you are trying to change is not the waking itself. Because the waking was always going to happen. You are trying to make it short enough that by morning you will not remember it. The studies are linked below. I am not a doctor. If this has been going on for months, or if any of the medical signals I mentioned sound like you, that is worth taking to someone who can actually examine you.